Hey YouTube family, welcome back to the channel. It is Pritpal from Pritpal's Projects, and today we're going to be building some Bi Xenon headlights for an S3 8L, so stay tuned. Now, one of the first hardest bits that we're going to face is actually cracking these lights open. So what we're going to do is, which is using a heat gun. So I'm actually just going to heat up all of these edges. When I heat these edges up, that should give me enough force to try and get a screwdriver in there and kind of pry the lens away from the body. And then once the body is separated, I'm going to do a little bit of paintwork just to make them look better, and then swap over the projector and then do the wiring. Alright, so now the lens is split away from the chassis of it, but what we actually want to do is we want to take this center part out, because this is what we're actually going to be installing our projector into. And little trick, well, not a trick, this is actually the way you get it out. You see these adjusters here, which actually adjust the tilt of the headlights. You actually want to unscrew them all the way, and this whole center bit will actually come straight out. So let's do that now. So now that we've got the actual projector assembly out, we actually want to unbolt the original projector away from this. So this means a 7mm socket, which means you will need a 1/4" ratchet set to do this. But there's actually only 3 bolts on it. There's 2 up here and there's 1 down here. Once we remove all the bolts, then this projector housing will come straight out. So once this comes straight out, the idea is my new one will slide in place of it, and I've got some really cool things to make it fit, which I'll show you in a second. Alright, so this is actually a separate step that I'm about to do. Now, these lights are not made by Hella. These lights are aftermarket lights made by DEPO. Now, the reason why you use DEPO headlights is because you actually buy the halogen versions and not the xenon versions. Now, the reason for that is because a factory halogen projector is actually 2.5 inches and a stock S3 xenon one is about 1 3/4. So if you buy the halogen kit, you actually get a bigger projector and it's easier to retrofit, because 2.5 is a common size that you can buy. Now, Vas actually wants these chrome bits, which are stock chrome on an S3, to actually be black, because the set that he's got at the moment are black as well and they look really good. But you guys won't have to do this, because if you buy a new set of DEPOs, just buy the black version. It's like 20 quid more on eBay, and you can just buy this all pre-painted. But because this set is chrome, I'm actually just going to take all this chrome bits out and just spray it all black. But if you are going to spray it at home, then I would highly recommend high temperature paint for this, because although this is not a high temperature area, the light beam itself produces a lot of heat. So by putting some heat proof paint on it, it will just make it last a little bit longer. So this is my projector that I'm using, but I actually want these to light up and glow red. Now, I did buy these with their built-in SMD sort of lights, which look like that, but I accidentally blew them up playing with them. So now I'm reverting back to old school LED strip. I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna put this inside this circle and then glue it in with a little bit of epoxy as well, and then that should light up, giving me a demon eye effect, so this whole projector should glow. Okay, so we're using some projectors here, and these are basically what make the Bi Xenon bit, but these don't actually fit in the S3 lights at all. The mounting points at the back are completely wrong. They will not fit the S3's headlight fitting basically, and you have to either make an adapter to make them bolt in, or you can buy a kit from eBay made by George Simmons, and I'll put a link in the description below so you can actually go and buy this. But he sells a DIY kit, so he'll sell you it with the projectors and with this custom CNC mounting bracket. Now this bracket is actually what connects this projector to the actual S3 light. So we're going to fit this adapter onto this lens, and then this whole assembly is going to bolt into my actual S3 carcass. So let's go and do that now. And that is it. The adapter is bolted up to my projector. So this is what you can see here. And what that means is when I take my actual housing, there's these 3 points. So there's one there, and then one there. And this is actually what it mounts to. But before you do that, if you can see here, there's one longer stud and one shorter stud. So we actually need to make them even. Now, thankfully, George in his kit, he gives you all the hardware as well that you need, and by following his instructions, I know that I need 3 washers on the shorter one in order to make these level. Once that is done, there's also this standoff piece that you go in here, you tighten it onto this last stud completely, and again, this is to set the height for the projectors to be in the right place. Now, after I've got that screwed in, I like to give it a little nip with a pair of pliers. Just make sure it's all tight. We can simply slide the projector in. Might need to put a little bit of pressure on it just to get it past the standoffs. But now that is on, and we're simply going to take the screw that we took off the standoff and put it back in. And then you also want to take 2 washers, put them on the tops, and then use the standard nuts that came off of the pegs in the beginning, and we can put these on. And now it's finally time to put this finished housing back into the casing itself. Now this is a little bit tricky, but it is literally just the reverse of it coming out. But you see these little white markers, these are actually the adjustment tabs on the car, and inside the carcass, it might be really difficult to see, but there's these bolts that stick out. So what you want to do is you want to put the whole thing back in the box, make sure the wiring is at the back, and then you want to line those adjusters up into their sections that they go into, and when they go in there, they should hit those bolts. Now once they've hit the bolts, you want to take your drill with your Allen key bit on it, and you basically want to wind these back in. And what I like to do is I like to wind them all the way back so they're completely set in, and then once they're fitted to the car again, then we can do the adjustment while they're on the car to get them perfectly level and back to what they should be. Or alternatively, you could take it to your nearest MOT station and get them to set it up for you after. Alright, so now that we've done most of the stuff on the lights, it's just time to get the wiring finished. Now there's a couple of important connectors that are going to come out of the projector. The first one is this one, the one with this little connector thing on it. This is actually the high beam shutter. So what we want to do is we want to find the plug for the high beam, which is this one, and we're going to splice into it and connect these wires. So the red is going to go to the white and the black is going to go to this weird brownish color. The other set of wires that I've got is actually from my HID kit, which is what I'm using to power the actual bulb, because we've switched this to H1 now. Now that's really simple. You're just going to connect up the negative to, again, the brown wire, and then the live is going to go to the yellow wire. And then finally, because these lights have got demon eyes in them, which is demon eye LEDs, we also have the LED wiring. The ground, I'm actually going to connect to this ground over here, because a ground is just a ground. So I'm going to connect it into that so I can share that ground. And then this live wire is actually going to come out the light and stay out of the light. And it's basically going to be switched separately from inside the car, which means that we'll have controlled to turn the demon eye on and off where we want, excluding everything from the wiring over here. So let's get to it. They look pretty good. I haven't put the lenses on them yet, but that's literally the last thing to do to finish these off. So these are the lenses. After they get a good polish, I'm literally just gonna put them back on. And what we want to do is, so this area here, which is going all around, I'm gonna dig out all of the old sealant and then use some good old-fashioned tiger seal all of that, put the lenses back on, give these a nice polish, and they're ready to go. So for anyone that's watched the channel for a little bit of time, you'll know that I'm really bad at recording intros and outros, and I normally film working on the stuff first. But we have actually finished the lights, and they are behind me over here, and they do look pretty damn nice. So I'll be dropping these off to Vas. He can then fit them in the car, and they are running external HIDs. We've also got the honeycomb etched projectors there, and they do light up red in demon eye because his car's red, and it just looks sick when they're on together. But guys, this video has been a little bit different than how I would normally do a video. Normally you'll see me and it'll be more like a vlog style, but if you like this kind of content more, where I'm showing more just like how to do it, please comment down below and let me know so I know what kind of videos to film going forward. But I just want to say thank you very much for watching. But this has been Pritpal from Pritpal's Projects. See you on the next one.